like I spoke a little bit of Japanese at the point already, right? But I was still an alien here, and I was living at the dojo by myself. I was like, if something happens, nobody feels responsible for me. Everything in Europe, it was pretty bad.
Oh,
it got crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody who's from Austria, get back home. That's your last chance. My friends were like, hey, we're all going. I called my mom. She was like, get back home. You know, are you crazy? And I called my friend. She's like, no, you better stay. This might be a chance for me to stay here.
Hey YouTube kittens, it's Cathy Cat, and today I have a special guest. Ta-da!
Hey, it's Thekla, the toxic spider.
So you debuted in Japan and then you went back to Austria for some time?
Because I was still studying, right? I was still in university. I had a lot of things going on, played with the band, like comic things. I was like, you know.
Band, comic, what?
Yes, like I'm an artist, right? So I was studying art at the time, and I always need to do all sorts of weird stuff, you know? So and wrestling was just part of that, kind of my world, you know? I was keen on finishing my studies, but the summer before I was gonna finish getting my master, I decided to come to Japan again because I wanted to learn more, right? I kind of had the opportunity to stay with a Japanese wrestling promotion and live at the dojo there.
Oh!
Yes, and live the dojo life, you know, and learn how to, you know, to work in the ring. So I did that for 6 weeks, and it was just brilliant. It was my first time being here for a longer time, and really not just being here as a tourist, but kind of, you know, digging into the life as a Japanese pro wrestler. And that was just brilliant. And after that, I went back to Austria and I finished my studies. But while I was studying, I was always just thinking about coming back. The first time was great in winter, but in summer I kind of fell in love with everything, you know, and also life as a wrestler, you know, and living in Japan, you know, even if it was only a short time, but I was just hooked right away. I was like, this is really good. I really like this lifestyle.
So between art and music and wrestling, or what convinced you to pick wrestling as number one was Japan?
Was maybe Japan, like, because I always had an affection for Japanese culture. And also the quality of wrestling is extremely high in Japan. The culture, the life, the art, you know, everything just came together with that. It was just perfect. And when I went back, I couldn't think of anything else. I was doing my studies and concentrating on finishing, but I was just like, I couldn't wait, you know. I knew I was gonna be done in half a year, and I was already like looking at the clock, like, okay,
take me to Japan.
Once I'm done, I'm going back to Japan. I knew that, you know. So that was on my mind. I didn't know at this point that I was going to become like a full-time pro wrestler. I knew like slowly everything was drifting towards that. As a wrestler, it's not only a physical job, you know, you're not only a fighter basically, but there's so much art in it. There's the costumes and designing that. I do that myself, you know, and it's a very creative job also. So all my love for art is in that field. And yeah, basically then 2020... in winter, like in February 2020, I came back to Japan.
Of all time.
I was supposed to be here 6 weeks, training some more, you know, getting more experience in as a pro wrestler. And then the 5th week, you know, the rumors were already out. We all know what happened, you know. It got crazy. Yes. Corona hit. Everything in Europe, it was pretty bad. You know, I was gonna go back to Vienna. You know? But Japan wasn't that bad at this point, right? But all my friends, like I had some Austrian friends also visiting here, you know, and like everybody just packed their stuff, you know, and you had the embassy calling, like, everybody who's from Austria, get back home. That's your last chance. It's the last plane, you know. My friends were like, hey, we're all going. I don't know what you're gonna do. But I packed my suitcase and I hadn't decided yet. I was like, things are bad over there. Things are not as bad here. And I'm here and it's good. So I went to the airport. I talked to the staff and I was just sitting there for hours trying to think of what to do.
Oh, so you actually went with your suitcase to the airport to catch your plane, or the last plane?
Like to talk about the booking situation, because the last plane was going to be the next day.
Oh man, this is like a kind of like, you know, like what is it, like one of those drama movies?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like I didn't bring my suitcase, but I had everything ready. If I would have left, I could have the next day, you know. So I was just sitting there, just staring. I called my mom. She was like, get back home, you know, are you crazy? And I called my friend. She's like, no, you better stay. This might be a chance. That's what I was thinking. This might be a chance for me to stay here.
Oh.
You know, this might be good. I mean, who knows what's gonna happen, but everything is bad everywhere now. You know, the way it was, everybody was panicking. But I was like, hey, what's the worst that can happen? I talked to strangers. There was this Canadian guy who was just waiting, you know, and he was like, what are you gonna do? It's like, I don't know, I'm a wrestler, you know. I was just telling my whole life story. It's like, sounds like you should be staying here. And it's like, right? So I decided to stay.
Okay, and you got into an agency, right?
I'm not into an agency, but before I was only training with the company, right? Mm-hmm. But they let me stay, which was very kind of them. Mm-hmm. They let me stay at the dojo, and I continued to train. And then a month later, they asked me if I wanted to be a full member of the company, which was a big honor also, because I was the first one, right, to come from another company, but also the first foreigner, you know, to be part of that company in that sense, you know. That's when I really started to become a professional. That's when the deal was sealed, you know what I mean? That's when it was like, okay, this is going to be my career now, I guess. I'm a professional wrestler.
Wow, so from practicing and training there, they were like, girl, we want you.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have happened had you go home.
Yeah, exactly. I might have continued working as an artist. I kind of already had the feeling that I was going to be a pro wrestler, maybe even in Japan. But you never know, right? Like, my gut feeling was like, stay. What's going to happen? You're going to be fine. I also wasn't fine at all.
No.
I mean, it's cool, right? But we all remember how it was. You know,
it was a tough couple of months for all of us everywhere in the world. Yeah, but you did the right choice at that time.
I did, but it was
took a chance.
I spoke a little bit of Japanese at the point already, right? But I was still an alien here, and I was living at the dojo by myself. I spent a lot of time by myself, and I was training hard, 20, 30 hours a week. You know, but it was just, you go crazy, you know, like everybody else. But I was like, if something happens, I'm here by myself. Nobody feels responsible for me. So I was like,
damn.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, that's the only thing. But I'm glad I did it. I mean, you know, it also gets yourself to the next level, right? If you take chances like that. So kids out there, always take your chance.
Ooh, nice. There we go. Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me, of course, on Instagram. That is toxic_Thekla, which is THEKLA. And it's the same one for Twitter, toxic_THEKLA.
There's also a couple of videos of you on stage on the Instagram, so in case you're curious and want to see some of her fights, there are some very good snippets on her Instagram to check out.
It's crazy.
Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in. All the information are also going to be down in the description box, and if you're curious about more cool stuff from Japan, then check out this video next here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye!